speaker tonight started investing in 2002 because he is being evicted. Adrian Smude not only has a successful real estate business, but he's also a best-selling author and a national speaker. He's done everything from single family to rehabbing, wholesaling, vacant land, and mobile homes. You name it. Yet 95% of his business model is centered around buying mobile homes. Today, Adrian's going to teach you some of the techniques he uses in his own business, which nets him about $9,540 profit per year per mobile home for the rest of his life. Oh, it is per year, perfect. All without needing any of his own money or credit. He knows what he says, and what he says works. So get ready to take lots of notes. You're going to learn a lot about Adrian for the next 90 minutes or so. So let's give an enthusiastic welcome, loud enough for our neighbors to hear us. Adrian Smude.
How you doing tonight? Woo! We got one enthusiastic crowd. How are the rest of you doing tonight? Come on. All right. Well, I'm excited and honored to be here tonight. And I want to start out by telling you what my mission with Lifestyle REI is. First, it's to bring sunshine and joy into your life and business. It's also my way of passing on what I learned from my mentors on you and what I learned the hard way, so that hopefully you learn a little bit less the hard way. And then third is my platform for bringing my friends in that run experienced, well-ran real estate businesses, for them to come in, teach, and go back and do what they love. Tonight is interactive, meaning more than one person needs to interact with me, ask questions, talk. It's not just me up here preaching, and that's not a lot of fun. So interact tonight. Let's start out with that. Who invests in single families? Okay, good amount in the room. Put them down. How about multifamily? Few of you. What about mobile homes? Mobile homes. The rest of, there's not very many people. So the rest of you need to pay attention. If not, there's only 5 of us buying them. Shows you a reason you should be paying attention, because there's not a lot of competition in mobile homes. I'm going to teach you all I can in the amount of time I have, and at the end, if it's okay, I'll give you an offer to be able to get more information. Is that good?
All good.
All right, so that's that participation part.
Love it.
All right, who here values their time? If you didn't raise your hand, we have a whole other conversation. That's one to make sure you're just paying attention. Perfect. I value time. I have found that people that take the most notes and participate the most, take the most action, and then get to their goals the fastest. So let's start out with what I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm going to go over why I invest in mobile homes, the 3 different types of mobile home investments, how I got here, so I'm going to go through a little bit of my journey. I'm going to go through some marketing, some key items you have to know, and then put it all together with a case study. So let's get started with, why would you sell a nice home like this? Who knows whose question that is? Nope, you are. I know you know. Let's give other people a chance. Anyone know whose question this is? There's a famous guy about an hour and a half south of here that he always asks this question.
Pete Fortunato.
Okay, there we go. Here, we're gonna get you a koozie. So you answer questions, and sometimes you get goodies. So Pete Fortunato always asks this question. We've got to know this because we are problem solvers. And if we're here to solve people's problems, we can't solve it unless we truly know why they need to sell. So we need to ask these questions. So why would I sell a house like this? It appraised about $200,000. It had good bank financing. I couldn't say that 2 years ago because bank financing was different, but it's relatively good bank financing in any market. And most importantly, it had cash flow. So tell me why I would sell a nice home like this. Any guesses? Maybe the topic? Just don't raise your hand.
Having more capital.
Yeah, but maybe the topic for the night. Anyone have an idea? Buy mobile homes.
Mobile homes.
Yes. I bought 7 mobile homes. I did a 1031 exchange. Very short on a 1031 exchange is I deferred paying the taxes to another day. We won't go down that rabbit hole. So I sold the one and bought these 7 homes with the dirt, homeland packages. spent $174,000. So quick math says I took some of that money and spent it because I live off my real estate. I eat, I drove here tonight, I buy a drink at the bar, everything I do is from my real estate business. There have been times that I snowballed it, meaning I took all the money and just kept putting it back in the business. I encourage you not to make that too long of your career because enjoying the journey is way more important. So back to this, $174,000, then we had to do some rehab. We did 50,000 in all 7. Not 1, not 2, but all 7 of them. The real reason I sold that 1 and bought these 7 is the new net cash flow is $3,300.
10 times, yeah, baby.
Tim, would you rather have $4,600 a year or almost $40,000 a year? Yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's 857% more cash flow. Cash flow is why I invest in mobile homes. I was in Milwaukee a few weeks ago, and after my presentation, a guy came up to me and he said, you know, it would take $1.5 million of leveraged properties, the way I buy them, to get the same cash flow. Able to do that with way less dollars, which means we can get to our goals faster. I point over here because I know that's what they did. Mobile homes allow us to get to our goals faster. We can make a larger percent return. We don't need as many dollars. We don't need as many properties. So how did I get here? I grew up in Plant City, Central Florida. Does everyone know where Plant City, we are the winter strawberry capital of the world is? Yep. We'll keep coming back. We like your tourism dollars. I grew up there when we had 0 Walmarts. We had to drive 30 minutes for a Walmart. Now you get like 3 or 4 within that time. Grew up like most of you. Parents that love me. They still love me today. I'm still alive, still taking great care of me. And they gave me the childhood of their dreams. I think that's what all parents do. I think that's what I'll do when I'm a parent one day. But when I was 8 or 9, I remember hearing like real loud voices coming from their bedroom. So I was like quietly crawling on the carpet. I don't know, when you're 8, it's quieter to crawl versus walk. But I'm in the hallway, quietly crawling, and I put my ear to the door, and I'm listening, and the conversation wasn't good. It was about money. Now, my parents didn't let us know that there was money problems. My brothers and I had a really good childhood. But later found out we had a stack of credit cards like this that were all maxed out. And then later, at dinner, we found out that we were filing for bankruptcy. Now, this was really embarrassing for my family. My mom still doesn't want us talking about it. She doesn't say the word bankruptcy, she calls it the B. Why is it embarrassing? Because we compromised our integrity. My parents brought us up with very high integrity. And when we said we were gonna pay something, we were gonna pay it. And this was compromising that. Life goes on, you like it or not. I moved out a little after 18, stayed local, and my friends and I were terrible tenants. Like, these are a few of our eviction notices. Landlords, tell me if you've had to evict people for spaghetti wrestling parties, mud wrestling parties, pudding wrestling parties, and then the center one is for parking a motorcycle in the living room. We do not rent to 20-year-old Adrian. And why were we parking a motorcycle? Sorry, why was my friend parking a motorcycle in the living room? Not me.
It was raining.
Rainy. Sharon and Joe are gonna find this harder to believe, but it's really cold in Florida in the winter. And my friend didn't want to like let his motorcycle warm up on our cold days. That is legit his reason that he parked it in the living room. He didn't want to let it warm up. They're from the Chicago area originally, so that was legit his reason. But because we got evicted, I'm a problem solver. I bought a house. I moved my same friends in that helped me get evicted. And then what did I do? I just took my mortgage payment and divided up by my friends, not including myself. So they paid paid my mortgage, which is really cool. So I bought another house. But the next house, I was losing a little bit every month. I was told at the time, don't worry, real estate goes straight up. You'll refinance in 2 years, it's all okay. So I listened to the banks. And then the market started almost instantly going down. So this is our last peak. I also had the adjustable rate mortgage. Okay. So everyone here knows what's going next. So my payment actually started going up. So I went from losing a little bit to a little bit more. After, I think it was a few years of that, I finally gave up. I gave the house up as a short sale, and ding to my ego, ding to my credit, but that embarrassing thing came back because I didn't keep my integrity. At the same time, I hadn't worked in 6 months. I was in marketing at the time, and big companies, they cut marketing budgets pretty quick in a recession. So I got cut, 6 months of not working. And that was a moment that I knew and I learned the power of real estate. Because I didn't lose this house. I bought it right, and I was renting it right. My tenants, my friends, were paying my mortgage. The other house wasn't good because I didn't buy it right. That's when I learned the power of it. A few years later, I ended up at Mcreia, just like this. Fell in love with the educational speakers like myself, the networking, and that's when I found out about mobile homes. Do you want to hear about my first mobile home?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
4 people, 5.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. You gotta keep the energy up. It's late after work. If not, I start crashing with energy. So I was at my local RIA, and Jessica, one of my friends I had met there, she came up to me and she said, my broker has someone that needs to sell a mobile home. It's a 1965, so I went and looked at it. I didn't have any formal education on mobile homes or anything, but I went and looked, and I was scared, but I was also very uncomfortable because I was comfortable. And that sounds a little weird, but I lived a decent life. But I knew I could get more, I knew I wanted more, I knew there was better returns out there. So I spent basically the rest of my savings, spent $16,000 to buy this. What I do next, I put a sign in the yard for rent, got $475 a month. That's good enough, you don't need your calculator to realize $475 on a $16,000 investment. Those numbers work. What did I do next? Well, I bought more. I bought a lot more. I kept buying them because I realized I stumbled into this gold mine. And then word kind of got out, and I started speaking a little bit locally because people started asking me, and then I wrote a book so that I can get more information out there faster. Today's business is I buy single unit mobile homes with the land and rent them. That is my main business. That's what almost everything comes from. I'm very, very niched down to one little tiny thing in one little tiny area. That's my main business. But what have mobile homes really given me? They've given me the freedom to be where I want, when I want, with who I want. So who wants the freedom to be where they want, with who they want, when they want? Say yes. Yeah. I think that's what we all really want. We don't want to work 90 hours a week in real estate. We want what the benefit that real estate gives us. And my widget is mobile homes. And I'm going to show you why I've been able to get there faster. So let's start out. This is where you're going to participate. Tell me which one is the trailer, a mobile home, and the manufactured home.
1, 2, and 3. Yep.
All right, I hear some technically correct answers. My answer is, it depends. If I am buying, they're all going to be trailers because it sounds cheap and it brings the price and the perceived value down. If I'm leasing or selling, they're all going to be manufactured homes. I don't care what year. Our language matters, not just in real estate, in all of our life, but we're here for talking about real estate. Language matters. We got to make sure we use the right words. Now, be honest, who here is a little stressed, nervous, thinks that mobile home investing or trailer investing is crazy and is uneasy on it? No one really? Okay. We have a few honest people. By the end of the night, my goal is to bring that, we'll say, stress level down a little bit. I want you to be more comfortable with it. 3 types of ways to invest in mobile homes. You can buy just the home. you own a 10 box. No land or anything, you own a 10 box, typically in a mobile home park. You pay lot rent or space rent. These are the lowest cost of entry for the most part, because you're only buying a box of air. Really good ROI, return on investment, and they're recession resistant. But what I personally don't love so much is we have this lot rent that we've mentioned. It's like a mortgage that never goes away. It always goes up every year. The other thing that I don't like is I lost control. So I own 2 of these in the same park, and on April 5th, I got an email from the park manager said, by the end of the month, you cannot have any homes in this park that you do not live in. Well, what do I do? Do I fight it? I probably could have. I don't like to put my energy towards fighting stuff like that. I sold them, but I made money because I bought them right, I rented them right, and then I was able to sell them right. But I lost control, and that's why I don't particularly love the mobile homes in a park. And that's why I stick with the home and land together. So I get to make all the rules. I own the land. So I own single units with the dirt. One of my favorite reasons is because this is just this forgotten little area. People know about the ones in the parks, and then people know about parks. We're gonna talk about that in a second. But people don't invest for whatever reason in this small little middle area. I've talked to very, very seasoned investors, and they've done very few of these. I took a poll of the room, and I only said mobile homes, so I don't know if that poll was actually parks or in the park or with land. It's a very small percentage of the room. Less competition means more for us. Makes it easier. Financing is always one of the first things that comes up to me. Well, you can't finance these. It's tricky if you don't understand it, and we're going to talk about financing tonight. So you'll have an edge on everyone that didn't show up tonight. That sound good? So let's talk real quick about mobile home parks. Because I gotta go through these 3, because if you don't understand mobile homes at all, you think they're all the same, or you've never heard of one of the 3. And it's usually that middle one. Mobile home parks, there's 2 main ways to run them. You can own all the homes, all the land, everything. You own a flat apartment complex. Or you can own just the land. And you own a big parking lot, and people pay to park in there every month. You can also own a combination of 2. What I don't love about these, the reason that these are no longer in my vision to buy, is I have friends that own these, and they tell me about all the government regulation, about some areas, monthly inspections on the homes. If they have a well, it's a monthly inspection on just the well. Same thing with some of the septic treatment plants. There's a few other, I can't remember all the stuff. Basically, I have to do more work and more inspections. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna do that, I just wanna get paid. If I do a lot more work and have a lot more headache, I don't like to work that much. I want something very easy that runs itself. And also, I like privacy over services. So Pete Fortunato, that guy I mentioned, he talks a lot about multifamily in general is services, and single family in general is privacy. I'm more of a privacy guy. There's no right or wrong. Your investments just have to match you. So if I want to give services, mobile home parks might be the right answer for me. The other reason are the big units. So we'll say 100 units and plus. The hedge funds got into this space years ago, and it's very crowded. I know some investors that are in this space and told me the only way they're making money right now are syndication fees. And actually, one guy in particular, he sold off all his parks. He's in his 50s and he's like, I can't spend the money because I bought them right and what they sold for. So there's just a lot of competition, more work. You can do it, but that's one reason I don't really like them. Let's get back to the actual mobile homes with the dirt. You can see some of them come with beautiful yellow vintage countertops. If you wait long enough, stuff comes back in style, right? What I have found on mobile home owners don't update their properties as often. So if it ain't broke, don't. That's what I have found. So that particular home also had shag carpet. There's a lot of laughing in there. So if anyone my age or younger doesn't know what that is, It's a shag carpet, it's like long-haired carpet that they actually had a rake to rake it up so it stood up pretty, I assume is the actual reasoning. Like, it was in that home. So if I see that, I know it's original carpet, which means the original subfloor. 1960s and 70s, I know that particle board was our original subfloor. What happens if we get particle board wet?
Falls apart.
What? It crumbles, you fall through. It's essentially sawdust glued together. So I don't even have to look underneath, because this home, it felt solid. When I saw that, I knew, all right, I have to put in the budget to replace all the subfloors. It's not a big deal to do it, but I gotta know to put that in the budget. 1980s, you have this great hex plumbing. So there's a few heads laughing and shaking their heads. It goes bad. It's not the gray, it's the actual joints that actually go bad. There's a class action lawsuit. If I see any of that, if I'm in it 1980s, I'm looking a little harder on the plumbing. If I see any, I know I have to budget, replace all of them. These are the little things. It's not difficult, it's just a little different of things you have to look for. These are great ROI, return on our investment, and recession resistant. Somebody tell me why I keep saying recession resistant.
Cash
It's
flow.
all the talk right now.
What was it?
It's all the talk right now.
Well, always red. Well, it's cash flow.
Cash flow. Give me more
Consistent
specific
cash
reason
flow.
why mobile homes are recession
As
resistant.
the economy gets more expensive, people are gonna resort to the cheaper way of life. So
Okay,
you're still
you're
gonna have
getting
people
there.
who house them.
Not
Person-
wrong, but I'm looking for a more particular.
Person working at Denny's can afford that.
Okay. Do you have something different?
Kind of the same thing, if somebody's in a, middle class, they can always go down a class, or upper class, they can always go down a class, but you can't go lower than the lower class.
So yes, that's, I'm gonna word that a little differently. How about this? So,
A little bit.
in the next recession, which there's a lot of people saying we've already are in it, let's say we have 2 household income, they're making a few $100s extra a month, getting by, and one of them loses their job, what happens? They're gonna have to go down a price level, a rent. It keeps happening until we get to the affordable housing space. And that's where most of our mobile homes are at, affordable housing space. So if we have more demand, we didn't make any more supply, trust me. What happens? By textbook economics, our
Goes
rents
up.
go up. I'm not counting on rents going up, doesn't mean they're not gonna go up. I'm counting on, I have a larger pool of prospective tenants. So I can pick from the best people to move in, take care of my property, and rent it. That means I'm going to get rent. I'm not going to go without. I'm not gonna go back to that cycle of earlier of my parents, we having to file bankruptcy, me losing the house at a short sale. I'm not going through that again, compromising my integrity in the next recession. Actually, I'm gonna thrive in it because I'm in the affordable housing space. I am not saying to sell everything and buy mobile homes. What I'm asking you to consider is adding a few to your business so that you can be recession resistant and make it through the next recession. That sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So let's start out with how we find them. Like, where do we want to buy these at? One of my mentors, Lenny Simador, a little south of here and a little south of Spring Hill area. He said, when you buy your home, you buy your tenant. We buy a good home in a good area, we will probably get a good tenant. The exact opposite is true. We buy a bad home in a bad area, we'll probably get bad tenant. I took this a little bit further, and I went through and thought through who have been my best tenants. So I call them residents, not tenants, so I might interchange those words a little bit. Who have been my best residents? The people that have taken care of the home, paid rent on time, and it's been a really good relationship. For me, it's been the blue collar, handyman, handy home. So I do everything to attract those people. I'm not gonna keep going down this rabbit hole because I spent an entire day, it's another topic, but just think of your avatar, who you're looking for. If you're in a downtown historic area, you're looking for a different person. If you're in Airbnb, I heard Airbnb, you're looking for a totally different person. So who are you trying to attract? What do they want? And buy for that. People don't do enough marketing as a landlord. We think of marketing to buy stuff. go away from that. Because like I said, I can talk all day on avatar and marketing for our residents. I know some of you are thinking, who lives in my mobile homes or trailers, you're thinking it's this family. Where the little one comes with his own tall boy daddy leg.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You're right, there's nothing
Nothing
wrong
wrong
with
with that.
There isn't, but I want to tell you that
That's
that's
my
not
cousin,
who,
you know.
That's your cousin, all right, and your dad, right?
Right. And that's my aunt.
But you know, we poke fun. Movies have made fun of this. Songs have. It's fun, but this is what scares a lot of people away from mobile homes. The trailer trash. This is not who lives in my homes. If you just put this same family, they live in single family homes and they live in multi-family homes. Well, you don't call them trailer trash then. It's the same people. Mobile homes have just gotten this little stereotype because movies and songs have made it fun to do that. I'll tell you who lives in my properties are the blue collar, handy men and handy women. It is not uncommon for me to drive by a property a month after they move in, and they've done all this gardening, they've cleaned the place up, and it is prettier than I gave it to them. Because my residents take pride in their home. It's their home. I actually tell them, I want you to move in, Steve, and when you pass away, I want your kids to move in. There's some people chuckling, but I tell them that. David Tilney, if anyone's heard of that name, that's who I really got that from. I'm a very big David Tilney student. That's a name you should be writing down if you haven't heard that name. This is who lives in my home. They take good care of the homes. They take pride in the homes. It's their home to live in. So everyone get who lives in mine and who doesn't. I want to make sure I bust that myth.
Yes, sir.
That bad negative perception. So let's talk about marketing. How do we market? Well, we can do yellow letters, we can do some bandit signs, Google AdWords, Facebook, MLS, postcards, door knocking. We can do everything that everyone else does. Do you know the secret to marketing for mobile homes? Do you want to know the secret?
Yes.
Okay, could be door knocking, but the real secret, I don't think you guys want to know. You do?
We wanna know.
You want to know, so I'll come whisper it to you. The secret is so simple. You don't say houses, you say mobile homes. You just have to tell people what you do. All of this can work. You just don't say houses, you say mobile homes. I know that sounds super simple, but that's what you do. You tell people exactly what you want. So if you're doing your letters, mobile homes. You gotta do it for 6 months to even gauge if it works. I'm not the marketing expert into that, but I will tell you, every marketing expert I've ever learned from, been to their classes or anything, they all say it takes 6 months of data. I have proof of my own stuff. It takes 6 months of data to know how well it works. Because usually it all works. But how do I find most of my leads? Through networking. I go to my local RIA, I say I buy mobile homes. At the end of the night, someone comes up to me, they say, why would you buy mobile homes? Those are terrible, they go down in value, you only have trailer trash, why would you buy them? I say, you're right, send me all your leads. And they do. And I always pay them. Because if I pay him, who's he gonna call? He's gonna call Steve or me. Yeah. I always keep people in deal because I want to buy.
I'll pay you too.
We have to tell people what we do. That's as simple as that. Now, realtors. Who's a licensed realtor in the room? Wow, we got quite a few people. I am not licensed, but I've got a continuing education. The realtors that have their hands up, would you say that most of the continuing education is about the same people every time, for the most part?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the same people that are gonna pay and go through that work, they're actually making money being a realtor. And if I go in as a brand new, different person, probably everyone's gonna come to me. And then I get to tell everyone what I do. So I do this thing that's mobile homes that realtors don't fully love. And the reason usually is mobile homes have one less zero on the dollar And realtors make a percentage of the deal, so you're gonna do the same amount of work for less dollars? Not really. So I became an information source to the realtors. You need anything, just call me, I just tell them whatever. And every once in a while, they call up and say, I really just don't have time. Can you just help Sally out with this home? So yeah. So referral. I try to keep the realtor in the deal. Sometimes they just don't want to even read the paperwork. But keeping people in the deal, abundance mentality is very profitable in the long run. And then I just tell everyone else I do. So those are my two main sources. But then as I'm doing everything, I'm always marketing. Everywhere I go, everything I do. Have you ever seen me in a different color shirt?
Never.
We see each other in a lot of meetings. I'm always wearing my neon yellow shirt. One of my friends, Steve, he's not in real estate, asked me the other day, don't you get tired of marketing? You're always wearing your shirt, you're always posting on Facebook. No. I love what I do. My marketing fits my personality. So I like a little bit of attention, obviously. Or I wouldn't be wearing these crazy jackets and a
Where's your
neon
studio?
shirt. I wouldn't be wearing all that all the time. I've seen people do different hats and hair color and belt buckles and shoes. Well, I just got my crazy shoes now. That makes it my personality. I'm comfortable with it. You put me in a black three-piece suit all day, I would be really stiff and uncomfortable. And you would be able to tell when I went to your house. Plus it doesn't match full homes really well. If you're an introvert, you're like, this is crazy, I don't want that much attention. Find something that fits your personality. I've seen different slogans or cat lovers. You have to actually be a cat lover and use your cats as marketing. Because cats are still one of the #1 search thing on the internet. So I know an investor that made a cat video and he had done tons of video. He spends a lot of money on marketing. His cat video trumped everything he had ever done. But he actually owns cats and loves cats. A different Steven that I know, he was commercial broker of the year a few years ago. And we started talking about why and how did that happen. And we figured out he brings his dog everywhere he goes. Almost everyone loves dogs. The dog don't love it for, not me. He may have done the paperwork, but the dog is the one that really did all the work. And he didn't even realize, he's an introvert and he got commercial broker of the year. So your marketing has to fit you. Is this fun?
Yes.
So don't just go and copy me because it will work for a very few percentage of people. I don't care if you copy, but it's not gonna work unless it fits your personality. What do I do if I wanna go swimming though? Because I'm not gonna wear my shirt. I still need the boaters to know, I need the fish to know, I need everyone to know what I do. So you like it or not, you're gonna remember me now, right? So it cost me one picture and one slide, and you remember me. Memorable marketing costs less time and less dollars. That's what I want you to take away from this besides staring at my backside for
Do I have to?
You don't have to wear the Speedo, but if you can make it fit your personality and be memorable, it works. You don't have to copy everyone else, make it you. So I want to go through the full deal, a case study, but first I want to go through a few key items you have to find, if everyone's finished with this slide. Everyone finished here? Alright, so this is where you want to start taking a lot of notes. Let's start out with this I-beam right here. There's two of these underneath the home, and it's a metal beam that is shaped like an eye. That's why they call it an I-beam. That's kind of the trailer portion. Like the whole home sits on it, you have the axles that attach to it, you have the tongue, and then that sits on your piers. So wood frame people, you know piers. It takes all the weight, and all weight sits on it. What is different is you have these metal straps. These are metal straps that literally wrap around the I-beam and anchor the home into the ground. That's what keeps your wobbly blocks from blowing over. Why do we care about these? Because hurricanes. But if we're gonna fix and flip, the banks, it's gotta be up to code. The bank's gonna care. So the bank is gonna care if we're gonna fix and flip. So you need to do the research of every state, which we're still Florida, but every county is also a little different. You need to know how far apart they need to be up to code to be able to sell it to someone that's gonna get bank financing and insurance. That's how far the piers and how far the straps. I buy and hold, so I don't have to care. Because I'm buying it for me, I'm not going to sell it to an end user. If I decide to sell it to an end user someday, then I would have to care. Yes,
Does
ma'am.
insurance matter? Make you care?
Very short answer, no. Most insurance companies, yes, but there is possibilities of no. So for me, I still want to get underneath that hook because I want to make sure this pier is actually straight up. I mean, there's been so many times they're crooked, or they're not there at all, or the water's been rushing underneath because they don't have the drainage right and it's about to fall. And then my strap, I want to make sure it's there. You'd be surprised how many times they're broken, or they're rusted, or they're about to break. I want to make sure it's still safe. Because I may not care about code, but I want to make sure it's safe. So then my wobbly box will go over. Next, while I'm inside, I'm going to look for the HUD data link. This started June 15th, 1976. That is the year the federal government basically said, we're gonna have a code for mobile homes. We're gonna make sure that they had a actual baseline out. It didn't go up a lot in the quality from before 76 to 76. They got rid of aluminum wire, but I joke around, they still made them out of toothpicks. Today's homes are built with the same material as any other house. What do I do with this here? Well, I look for it first, and it's in the master bedroom closet. I've seen it in the breaker box, where you open that little door, and then underneath the kitchen sink. Those are 3 common places to find this. It tells you the wind zone rating, where it was manufactured, who the manufacturer was, and then the VIN. I like to take the VIN and match it with the title. Here in Florida, DMV governs mobile homes. Most states, it governs mobile homes. There are a few states, like California, that didn't have enough branches of the government and created another one just to govern mobile homes. But we are lucky that Florida, we have the DMV. This is the title, it looks like just like your car title, except for it's for a mobile home. For buying a single wide, we're gonna get 1, double wide, we get 2. What is the difference in these 2 titles for a double wide?
A and B.
A and B. Man, I couldn't even get a drink of water, you're so quick. Take one anyways. So A and B, so our VIN is going to be the exact same number, except for there's an A on one and a B on another. That's how you know they're meant to be married together. But what happens if they're 2 totally different numbers? Can we buy it? Should we buy it? I have. I bought them. We all know someone that's been divorced and got remarried and they're happy together. Why can't a mobile home do it? I mean, I'm joking around, but I'm also serious. I have a mobile home at 2 totally different numbers. It's actually 2 single wides. And I'm not the fastest, brightest person, so I didn't even realize it right away. And I was pointing out, well, the windows are totally different shapes and sizes. Oh yeah, that should have been a clue. Well, what do you want to do if you have that scenario? You gotta check the electrical system closer, because they were not meant to be married together. The roof wasn't meant to be. In my case, it had a roof over, which I always like, because I essentially have 2 roofs, and that's not super uncommon in the mobile home space. Because I wanted to make sure it was meant to be built together. You cannot sell that to a bank. Anyone that's gonna get bank financing, sorry. Anyone that's gonna get bank financing, that's impossible. Is it reason for a lower price? Yeah, it is. So I like it. I like lower prices. Now next we have financing. This is a big topic. Who thinks Bank of America is going to finance this beautiful 1962, it even comes with most of its siding? Chase Bank, Credit Union of Ocala, Community Bank of Ocala. No, there's no bank that's gonna finance this. Let's quickly talk about banks. The community banks and the credit unions have told me that they will do that magic date, June 15th, 1976 in Newark. If that is your plan, please go sit down and talk to the banker. You're gonna use the smaller banks, they're gonna have their own rules. They're gonna have the bigger rules, you're gonna have to do the straps, the straps and tie downs, the piers, the skirting, you're gonna do all that. But they may have other little rules of what it needs. I've seen too many people just buy them, and then later find out after they're done with their rehab, well, the bank requires another $5,000 or $10,000 of repairs. That would have been cheaper if they already had their contractor there, or they may not have bought it. So if that's your route, make sure you talk to a bank beforehand, and you want the small ones. The big banks, don't go that way. What else can we do? We can use cash. I am not allergic to using my own cash. I know a lot of investors are, but most of the time when we're building, we don't have cash or we run out really fast. And even when we're not, we still run out. And at some point, cash goes away. So we don't have bank financing. We don't have any more cash. How do we buy this?
Get your trust fund.
Seller financing. There we go. That's the answer I was looking for. If someone else said it, I'm sorry I didn't hear you first. So seller financing, owner financing. I have found it's not very difficult with mobile homes because mobile home owners already know they're not bankable. They know the homes aren't bankable. And a lot of the mobile homeowners, especially these older years, they bought with owner financing. So you're going back to that stereotyping a lot of people do. They think that this is a sophisticated topic. And mobile homeowners aren't sophisticated, whatever. I can't even say the word. But it's been very common for me to get financing. This particular one, I went to that home with the purpose of practicing something I had just learned in a class. So my goal was to practice something I learned, not to buy the home. So I had 100% control if I succeeded that day. Because I can't force someone to buy it, I can only convince you so much. But I had complete control of did I practice some certain verbiage or whatever I just learned. And then he said yes. So it worked out really well. So the owner, Paul, he gave me this home with $1,000 down and $100 a month till paid. And you're probably stereotyping this and judging this book by a cover because the inside wasn't that bad. I put about $13,000 in it. So I'm in it for a little over $15,000. And I rented it for $700. Those numbers work? It didn't take you very long to figure that one out. He sold me two like that. Who in the world would do something like that? He's a very experienced investor. When I brought the agreement to the title company, they knew him by name. Why would he do that? I went there, I built rapport, I asked him why he's selling. We talked for a while. I didn't beat him up and bully him on price. Actually, I gave him the exact price he asked. And then he said yes. And he actually gave me the hug. I was super excited. But he gave me a hug. He wanted. I later found out that other people were beating him up on price and being pretty mean to him. That goes back to that first quote I had by Pete Fortunato. If we're there to solve a problem and truly get to know people, it can work out. Did I mention he sold me two like that?
Yep.
So $30,000 bringing in $1,400. Actually, one of them, someone has moved out, so rent has gone up. So it can work. Consider maybe buying some mobile homes. What else do we do? Because owner financing does not work for everyone. We know that. It's just everyone's situation can't work. So what is our other option? I think I heard it earlier.
Trust fund.
Private lenders, is that what you mean by trust fund too? No. Private lenders. This is a pretty big topic. I've done all kinds of structures within private money. I have hours of conversation with this. I have actually left closing with a check large enough to pay for all the rehab. So basically I have $0 in it and the lender still got double digits. So it's possible. Private money can work. You just have to structure it. One reason it works for mobile homes is we can get a little higher return one of my favorite reasons though, is I'm dealing with a human being. When I'm writing a check or clicking the buttons online to Chase Bank or Citibank, if it's a mortgage, whatever it is, it feels like a bill. Just feels like a bill, no matter what. But if I'm writing that check or clicking the buttons to Brian, well, it's my friend. You know Brian. And I'm helping Brian retire a few years earlier. So now it doesn't feel so terrible when I write that check. Because I know where it's going and it's a friend. Or Kevin, well, Kevin's kids actually, because I'm helping their college fund grow. It just feels a little bit better for me. That's one of my favorite reasons that I like private money. But these two, private money and owner financing, you have to learn these. Because banks have already tightened. And they're probably gonna tighten more if we go into the recession or if we're already there. That means you're not gonna have bank financing. If you wanna buy anything like this or like this, well, you can't use banks at all. Well, nope, you don't. I got time. This is the 1980s. You know why? You can't see it here, but why would a bank not finance that? I said banks would finance them. You can't actually see it in the picture, but does anyone know why a newer home a bank would not finance?
Easier to move.
You're on the right direction. It's been moved before. If it's been moved, banks won't finance it. It can be a 2022. If the original installer installed it and you moved it 20 feet away,
Second set home.
yeah, the banks won't finance it. So this one had been moved already, which was cool for me because my straps were up to date, my plumbing was all brand new, my AC, everything was new on it. Even though it's the 1980s, everything was newer. So I loved it, and then banks couldn't finance it, so the price came down. That's why you gotta know the different types of way to finance so that you can make it through the next recession. Where was that with, sorry, I got a little sidetracked with that. Private money. If you haven't gotten private money before, I just encourage you to do it. It just feels better. I mean, we're all about business a lot of times, but there's some good feel to real estate if you set your business up right. It just feels good. So I know there's a few people in here, not the mobile home investors already, that are thinking, Adrian, that sounds great. It all makes sense, but there's no mobile homes. We don't have them around here. Well, this is Zillow that I pulled up. 3,661 recent mobile home with land sales. Those are 3,661 missed opportunities. Obviously, some of them sold at market. We could still get owner financing and make it make sense at market. But some of those, I can almost guarantee you, sold under market. There might have been some people in the room that bought some of these. They are there, but if you're not looking for mobile homes, you don't see them. It's the little story that I'm sure you've heard when you buy the brand new burnt orange car, and you're like, I have the only one of these, and then all of a sudden you start seeing them everywhere. It's the same thing with mobile homes. So I promise you they're out there. Obviously they're a little bit more in the rural areas, but this is Ocala right here, so they're all over the place. Just consider starting to look for them.
Adrian, what are you paying for the, what's your average interest rate on your owner financing versus your private money?
That one I showed you was 0%.
Okay, okay.
So I'll give you a little.
Okay, but that's not the norm though, right, for you? Or is that the norm?
I've done a lot of it.
Okay. good for you.
I paid as high as 4% on owner
Okay.
financing.
And what
They
about-
beat me up on that.
And what about private?
It's been all over.
Okay.
That conversation, I usually try to figure out like, what do you actually need? And then I kind of put in a spreadsheet when I get a property, well, what can that property afford?
Right.
That's the way I kind of do it. And if we're close somewhere, I'll just let you know, because I want you to know about the opportunity, because maybe things have changed in the last few months. And maybe it doesn't work, and that's fine. But I've structured them different ways. So I've done, I mean, literally massive spreads of different percentages, partially depending on how I set it up.
But the private guy doesn't care about any of that. So what kind of numbers do you see on private money?
I know it sounds like I'm skirting your question, but
No,
I had
I
literally,
get your answer for the, I get the concept, the dynamics between the owner financing. But private money is usually, it's all about the numbers, and unless the numbers make for it, he's not into the deal.
so I've set this up in all different ways. I've done performance-based, I've done straight interest, I've done amortization. This is a pretty big topic that I dive pretty deep in. And that's why I have to have that conversation with the human, like, and really ask you, what are you looking for? And then I can say, all right, well, how can I give you that? And different properties allow me to pay different amounts, or maybe you're really looking for equity and you're not looking for anything. It comes into a conversation more than anything else. So I don't wanna go all the way down, cause I can spend hours on that. I don't wanna just touch on it and then leave you lost. With the topic, so it's all over the place. It's what someone is willing to pay.
It's what the market will bear.
I mean, I've got friends that I don't have any private money as cheap as 2%, but I have friends that are getting 2%.
Wow.
And lots of that money.
Wow.
If you're interested in 2%, let's talk. But it depends on the structure of the payment. Here, I'll go quickly down the rabbit hole. I know some very successful investors that average 15 and 20% through their whole career, that are very happy with 4 and 5% now.
Yeah.
Because they built up so much money and they just want really safer,
Cash flow.
easy, and they're like, I can't spend the cash flow that I get from that. And they're successful investors. Some of them are actually national speakers. And they're now okay with that. And you're like, I question them. I'm like, well, why would you take such a small return? He's like, I can't spend the money that people pay me. Because they have such a big, large nesting. If you're looking to build your retirement fund in 5 years and you need a few more $1 million, well, you need to get a bigger return. That's why I like global loans, because I want to get a larger return to grow faster. But once you have a large goose there,
Yeah,
you don't need as
spend it
big.
on cash, yeah.
Depends on where you're at in your cycle. And we can talk later. I don't want to throw a number out because it might skew or scare someone else in the room that, oh, I can't get that number, or I get way more or way less, because it's so personal to both sides. Yes, sir. Well, ma'am, we'll go with ladies first.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
I used to hate mobiles, but now I have some and they're big cash boxes,
Yeah.
so I love them. But I don't personally buy them, even if the price is really good, out in the middle of nowhere, because I felt like, I'll have a hard time getting tenants. I'm driving the area and all I see is, trashy looking stuff all broke down, so I pass up those deals, and I wondered what your take was. Do you buy anything, or do you only buy it in an area that's a little more populated, where you can get more tenants?
It really goes back to that topic of who I want, the avatar. My personal avatar is a blue collar handyman, handywoman. So I like the ones that are a little more rural. I have a very tight buying diamond. It's literally diamond shaped. It's 30 minutes from Plant City. I don't buy outside of that because really I just hold all my mentors, and they all said eventually it went down to a tighter area, so I'm like, I'm gonna start with a tighter area. And also it means that I can use the same handyman contractors. If I have a 2-hour, 3-hour window, especially today, they're not gonna drive that far. And I can do it in my area. I think you can do it here, but you just have to look. I have friends in Wisconsin, they can't do that. They have to go 2, 3, 4 hours because, well, that's how long it takes to even get to a Walmart. Like, there's nothing there. So it depends on where you're at. I have friends here in Florida that drive 8 hours. That is their buying range. I think it's crazy. He makes a ton of money because he buys in these markets that no one will buy in. But it works for him. So it just has to work for you, what's comfortable. If you are never gonna drive that direction and never gonna go check in your property, probably shouldn't buy it.
That's what I said.
We will buy it literally a few minutes outside of that 30-minute range when we already have a few, or we always drive that way. The other, so Zephyr Hills is my direction, I don't go that way. We do have a few, but I never drive north, it's not on my way to anywhere. Lakeland's on my way places, Tampa's on my way places. And so I do buy there, but now we have a few, but it wasn't my preferred area, because now it's kind of a way to go do something, and then now it's a pain in the butt property. My answer, a little bit, yes, sir.
So, 0% interest rate.
Mhm.
It's my understanding that the IRS imposes a minimum, and the last time I did owner financing, we rephrased it as the IRS minimum interest rate. They were good with the 0%, they just wanted payments. So I renegotiated the payment dollar to the same dollar and imposed the minimum interest rate that I looked up at the Fed's table, so that they wouldn't have any issues when they file their
Yeah.
taxes. Do you run into that? Is that anything that even is patrolled, or is that something that somebody's gonna start asking questions if somebody?
Did we do a disclaimer at the beginning that I'm not an accountant, CPA,
I
or
know.
anything, tax?
I know.
But, I literally had this conversation last night with my brother.
Okay,
I've never had any problems.
Okay.
I think it's called imputed interest, if I remember, yes? I could not remember to tell my brother, I feel like I've heard two different things. I've heard one, that it's technically a myth that you have to have an interest, and I don't remember if that's correct. But the other one I had heard, no one's ever gotten in trouble for it. None of the people I pay have ever gotten in trouble. On the spot, in reality, if that did happen and they got in trouble, I'm gonna make it right, because I'm a human being I'm dealing with.
yeah,
If you're not comfortable with that, then the way you said is a really good way to do it.
yeah,
So I don't have that right answer. I'm more of an action taker, and let's figure it out later, because we're all humans, we have really good relationships. And if we did something wrong, we will stay in contact and fix it.
I figured it was kinda like the due on sale clause that,
No way.
banks have it.
Yeah.
They really don't patrol it in this current market.
Yeah, and I'm assuming also someone has to complain. The IRS is not looking for that.
Or they get on.
They don't have the people to look for that, and they don't have the budget for that kind of it. Do we have another question? Yes, sir.
Real quick, kind of in line with her question, knowing that what this meeting was gonna be about, so I was looking at some of the mobile homes in the area,
Mhm.
that I'm kind of targeting and whatnot. And so I noticed that some, are like dirt road, and some are regular road. Does that even matter in your?
If you're getting bank financing, and realtors help me out here, that I believe that most bank financing requires a paved road. Is there any, cause I don't really fix and flip much.
Not all of them, it is a hell of a lot of sand roads.
So there are a few banks that will finance like that. So that route, if you're looking for banks, there are gonna be some that will do a sand road. I own homes on a dirt road, off of a dirt road. Like, I don't care there. The one that I showed that came with most of its siding is on a dirt road. I actually had trouble closing it because the easement of the actual road was so small that they were saying an ambulance could run down it. So we ended up solving the problem, but it was that tiny of a dirt road. A car couldn't go down there when it was muddy. I'm not scared of that. So this is where I said it's comfort level. I'm gonna show you one in a minute that is not that world. So we have kind of two different worlds in the mobile home. You have dirt road with a little bit of siding, and then you have stuff that if I showed you the inside, you wouldn't know it's a mobile home. Yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering, in that price range and category, do you have a lot of trouble collecting rent?
So do we have trouble collecting rent? It goes back to who are you putting in your home? I'm looking for someone that wants to live in my home. That's who I'm looking for. Now, if I buy a bad home in a bad area, I'm probably gonna get someone that's gonna give me a lot of trouble. And that just doesn't work for me. So I actually have a rule. My accidental fix and flip is a property that I bought in a pretty rough part of Lakeland, Skyview Lane. So they're from Lakeland, they know that road. Don't go there if you go to Lakeland.
Not without a gun.
But the numbers were great. And I got greedy. I was like, all right, this is gonna be great. I had it for rent at $700, and I didn't have anyone wanting to pay more than $400 to move in. and then the little tiny fence got stolen. I saw the SWAT team doing break-ins during the day on a Wednesday, and I realized I need to get out of this place. I can't manage this. I'm too nice for that. So I made a rule, and my current rule right now is if I don't feel safe sending my office manager, Jill, there on her own at night, I don't buy it. So I just have to make sure that I feel safe with her going there on her own. It doesn't mean I'm gonna send her there, but that is my qualification. So I want places that people want to live, which I have found the rural areas, there's a lot of people that want that acre, that quarter acre, because of what it comes with. They're renting the land just as much as the home. That blue collar handyman, handywoman, and then I can't keep going down this rabbit hole. For me, they want to bring their work trailer. They want the shed to put their motorcycle and their mechanic parts in. They want to bring their animals, their pigs, rabbits, chickens, ferrets. I allow all that. I love it because they stay and they take care of the property. So they're renting the land just as much as the home. So that's one reason I like those areas. Yep.
What price point do you look at?
Price point I look at, I have bought anything from $7,500 to $147,000, what I just paid a few weeks ago. So I mean, we're talking wild different ranges because a 1999 is very different than the one that comes with most of the siding. And the dirt value of those two are very different. Yes, sir.
With, more people that wanna kinda get off the grid per se, do you see an uptick in, you know, kinda like the tiny homes or mini homes market at all?
Well, I owned one that was 400 and something square foot, so I said that was the original tiny home. I think you have to be under 500.
Okay.
It was not what people see on TV. It was a trashy 1970 trailer. Remember, our words matter.
Yeah.
That's not who I'm marketing to.
Mhm.
So I can't really answer the question because I don't have a lot of experience. Because I am doing everything I can to attract the blue collar handyman. I like the idea, and I do know there are some mobile home parks that have converted to tiny home parks. I think there's one in Sarasota and one in St. Pete.
There's one by the village.
Oh, there you go. Okay, the one by the villages too. I think it's a smart concept. That's just not my real tight niche.
I think our
But-
county has regulations on that.
So your county has regulations against tiny homes?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can't live in something that has wheels attached to it.
Okay. Can't have something wheel attached. That's why, I mean, mobile homes are so different by the county. You've gotta look at all of that. Yes, ma'am, and I'm gonna move on after this one.
Can you give us an example of how, what your marketing would be to attract handyman type people?
So we have one right now, it's at 1 point something acres. Fenced yard, so fenced yard is very good. It has a workshop shed. Those two pieces right there are two of my favorite things, because that's what they want. It's gated and with a fence, so I'm willing to maybe even pay a little bit more for that property because of those two are already there. And now, part of it, I know you asked what we would put in it, but where would I market? Maybe I'll put some signs outside of Home Depot and Lowe's and AutoZone, because a lot of I'm stereotyping a little bit, blue collar handyman women tend to go there more than Starbucks and Target. So I'm looking to market. Put your marketing cap on that you do to find homes, and put that on of where would my avatar person. So for me again, blue collar handyman, and I just write it up that way. The other thing I do, I cannot keep going down this rabbit hole, but I don't make my homes pretty, and people always think and look at me crazy, and I have such trouble with my contractors and handymen. I do not replace the dirty, nasty carpet, and I do not paint. I want the home to be ugly. Because if I have an ugly home, so your eyebrow just went up. are you gonna move in there when I have this dirty stained carpet? Or are you gonna say, are you gonna replace this where I'm not moving in? What do you?
I'm gonna say, are you gonna replace
Okay.
it?
Are you a handy woman that is gonna do all the work on the property? Or do you do plumbing for a living and electric for a living?
Are you gonna pay me to put it in?
No, I mean, no,
That would be
for
my
like, yeah, but are you a contractor by trade?
No.
So you said no, so you disqualified yourself.
Okay.
Who's the contractor in here? If you saw the place and you wanted it, you liked everything except for it had some nasty carpets, would you maybe say, well, can I replace these carpets?
Sure, give me a break in the back.
That is part of my marketing.
I see.
I get you to say no, and you not even want the place. So you don't even put an application in. And whenever he says, hey,
This
can I
is thinking
replace
I
this?
can replace this, and I'm
So-
thinking I gotta hire someone to replace it.
So that's part of how I'm looking to attract, is I'm building the home from the start. And I've had contractors go and rip out this dirty carpet. I'm like, no, it wasn't about budget. It's about, now we're putting something pretty in, and now I'm gonna get lots of applicants when I only want one applicant. I want the guy that's gonna come in and take pride in the home, or the girl is gonna take pride in it. That's a lot of my marketing.
Yeah, but you're pushing away the person, the single person who can afford it, but doesn't have the ability to do the work, but still wants a nice, clean,
Not-
painted, fresh place to live.
Close, not that they don't have the ability, that they're not willing to. I've had single moms that are not handy at all gather people from their church to come do the work. And she has been there perfect. She's never paid on time, it's always 3 or 4 days early. And she takes great care of that place. So I'm looking for someone who's going to take pride in this home, not just live there.
You want someone who's gonna put a little skin in the game.
Yeah. And I'll give you a break for that, because I believe it's not perfect.
That's the best customer.
I believe
Oh,
you're
yeah.
gonna stay longer, because now it's your
Because I did
home.
something to it.
It's your home. That's what I want. I want you to
They
take
took
pride.
ownership of it.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. But if you're not looking for the blue collar handyman, because this doesn't apply to everyone, not everyone's okay. I've had people replace all the plumbing in the house. Who's a plumber? So I'm okay with that. I don't want someone that's not a plumber doing that. But this can go a lot of different ways. I don't want you to think of it only as the blue collar handyman, because that scares away some people. Think of it, put your Airbnb hat on or different things, and really think of it that way. All right, we gotta move on. We've gotta go through a case study here. So Greg, how did I find this? How do I find most of my deals?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth, network.
Word of mouth, networking. I was at not a real estate meeting, but just a business meeting. And I asked for a referral for mobile notary. The lady afterwards said, call Rachel. So I called Rachel up. She came out. She's actually done a lot of mobile notary for me in the past. And every time she's like, Adrian, don't forget, I'm also a realtor. I always tell Rachel, don't forget, I buy mobile homes. So then, Rachel brought me this property. How did Rachel find it?
She didn't want it.
And I'll-
Word of mouth. She tells everyone what she does. I'm a realtor. She had that on Facebook a lot. She's always posting a lot. And someone from her Facebook that she was high school friends with then connected her with the seller.
So here it is.
So both of us found it through networking. What problems did we solve? Well, we can see it's overgrown. You can see a blue tarp here. It's hard to see, there's actually a second layer, there's a brown tarp. We actually have 2 tarps. It's over the entire roof. So we have a few problems here. It's also in probate, and they wouldn't move now. So there's some issues here. She told them, look, we can put it on the MLS, and we can get people through here, because you don't have probate done, we're not sure how it's gonna work, or I can just bring some investors in. If you like the price, we'll go that route. If you don't like the price, we'll just go to the MLS. So obviously, they like my price. How do we pay for it? A little bit of my money, a little bit of private money. Rehab, we also, obviously, we had that work outside, but we had to do both showers, had to do some work to it, and then a few other things. That is one that my handyman took up all the carpets that I got a little frustrated with. But we had to do some work inside. We rented it at $16.10 a month, right before Christmas. the worst time for landlords to put something for rent, and it rented very fast because there's demand for mobile homes. Anyone see the numbers?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, but Adrian, you couldn't close before probate was closed, so how did you work that out?
It started in September. The whole deal
So
started in September.
Probate's coming out the other
Yeah,
end.
so one problem we solved was as soon as probate was done,
You had a deal.
we were ready to go.
Yeah.
So they already had a for sure buyer. And we know the homeowners can't always do that because they're looking, they have the time now. That's one of the many valuable things that us as investors can provide to people is we can close whatever, as quick or as slow as you need. So 83,500. At this time, this is the most I've ever paid for a mobile home by double. But I wasn't worried or scared because I had a trusted process that I had done over and over and I wasn't concerned. Closing costs, repairs, we're all in at 105,600. And then we borrowed a little bit of money, $70,000. So is everyone caught up right here before I move on? We're all good. Okay, so how much money do I have in it? 35,600. Of 35,600. Could I have less in it? Yes, it's possible. I could have gone to my private money and asked for more money and given him the opportunity to make a little bit higher amount every month, but I didn't because of where I'm at today in my investing. Years ago, I would have asked for more because I didn't have as much cash to put into it. But now I'm looking at a bigger amount every month to come in. So you could get away with the same deal with less dollars of your own in it. What did he do? He just drove by the property. We already had done some stuff together. So he drove by, looked at the numbers, he said, we're good to go. Then I rented it. My net rent is $795 a month. It's after taxes, fees, anything you want to talk about. So every single month, I'm getting $1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, $800, and I get to put it in my pocket and keep it and spend it wherever I want. Is anyone getting $800 a door in today's market? Mobile home investors. 700, so non-mobile home investors. 700, okay. We have a few, 6, 5, 4, okay. You guys are doing good. This group's going good. A lot of groups had to get down to like 300 before they actually start saying yes.
How much did you rent it for?
1610.
So that,
1610. So this is my net. This is what
that
I'm
was
putting
your
in.
cash flow after you paid the mortgage on the 70.
Yep. This is this month's rent. I get to put in my pocket every single month. Now, what do these numbers mean? How much am I making on my money? I'm making 26% return on my investment. Is that a good number? Well, the stock market's getting an average of 8% over long term, not this year, but very long term. 26% to me is good. 20% to me is good. Why do we want a higher percentage? Because if we can make more on our money, we need less money. And we can get to our goals even faster. So a higher return on our investment allows us to get to our goals faster. And the icing on the cake on this deal, it's worth over $200,000. So I have equity, so I bought it right, I'm renting it right, and if I wanted to sell, which I don't like to sell, but if I decide to sell, I could sell it right. I've got all three pieces because I'm a conservative investor. People always think it's weird when I say I'm a mobile home investor and I'm conservative. I'm conservative with my business. If you're growing, it's a little different of how conservative you get. I'm about being conservative today. In growth mode, you have to maybe give a little bit more. But what is our main takeaway of this slide? $795 a month and 26% return on our money. If this doesn't excite you, I don't know. I can't help you. This excites me every day. I would do this every single day, maybe twice a day if I could find that many. I'm a very picky buyer. But this is still possible. This was last year. So last December is when we rented it. So this is, I consider that today's market. But what does all this mean here? It's mobile homes rock. They're awesome. They give you the freedom and allow you to be where you want, when you want, with who you want. And I call that lifestyle freedom. The secret here is, I'm not here trying to sell you on investing in mobile homes. I'm here to give you something much more important, the benefit that mobile homes give you. Of the traveling, time, the freedom. So none of that can happen unless you take action with all this. Every time I take action, I do it with a little bit wiser approach because I learned from what I just did. And every once in a while I trip and I fall forward and I get up and I keep doing it again. Some of my favorite quotes on taking action is the price of inaction is far greater than the cost of making a mistake. I believe this means if you are not taking action, you are not getting any closer to your goal. You cannot get closer to your goal without action. And when we take action and when we fail, I've never met anyone really successful that has not had a small failure or a massive failure, but they fall forward and get up and do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again. But sitting there doing nothing or falling backwards and being too scared is not going to get you anywhere closer to your goal. It's going to get you exactly where you're at. The cost of making, where you are a year from now is a direct reflection of your choices today. If you can stop taking notes for a second, if you want to close your eyes, it's okay. Let's just imagine a year from now, you bought a few mobile homes, you've got more cash flow. Maybe you drop down to part-time work, you quit altogether, or you're doing a few less rehabs, or just not as big rehabs. Essentially, you have more time on your hands. You had this meeting tonight, and you check your phone, and a friend sent you a text. I know it's last second, but my birthday's tomorrow. Can you go to lunch for my birthday? You can say yes, because you have the time to do that. That day might cost you $100, food, maybe a few drinks. You can budget $100 pretty easy, pretty quick. Maybe it's a few weeks, maybe it's a month or two, but you can budget that. You cannot budget the freedom of time overnight or that quick. You have to make choices today to get more freedom next month, next year, and that never stops. You get more and more freedom. I'll tell you that experience for me was worth way more than $100, but I was able to do that. And I can tell you, my friend Morgan, it meant more than $100 that I was able to be there. She didn't have any other friends that could make it. Consider that you can do this too. If you still have your eyes closed, open them for the last quotes. Your actions prove your faith. One of my coaches, Sharon and Joe and I met in the mastermind with one of my coaches, and he's essentially saying, if you are not taking action, you don't believe it's possible for yourself. Just flat out, that's not true. I mean, you can do it. I didn't tell you all my story. If we end up at the bar afterwards, I can tell you story after story. But remember, I wrote a book last year. Well, I was in remedial classes all through school, and last year I found out I'm dyslexic. So if a dyslexic guy can write a book, you can buy some mobile homes. I mean, really, if I can do it, so can you. It's very true. And just borrow the faith of me, borrow the faith of the room, take it and take action with it. Learning something tonight? All right. I told you I had more. If you are still interested in learning more, I have a class in October, cashing in on mobile homes. This is going to be a 2-day class. And the very first thing we're going to do in class is bust your myths. We did a little bit of that tonight, but we've got to get all of that stuff out of your head to install all the good new information. If not, you're going to still be resistant to it. So that's the first thing we do. Then you're going to leave no longer fearing those old 1960s and 70s. You're going to understand them and have confidence. If you buy them or not, that's a different thing. But you're going to have confidence and understand them. Easy financing strategies without banks. We went into that. you tried to get me to go down the 2, 3, 4 hour rabbit hole of it, and that's just not enough time tonight. But I go down that rabbit hole. There's tons of different fun things. I told you, you gotta learn this. If it's from me or someone else, but this is what's gonna get you through the next recession. And are there any BRRRR people in here? The buy, rehab? I don't even know it. So essentially, I'm gonna teach you how to take the refinance piece out that you don't have to do that anymore. So you just BRRRR. Instead of BRRRR, you just BRRRR. I don't want you to have to do it because if banks stop financing, your business plan stops. And I don't want you to have to stop. And then we're going to go over all of the, everything else I know, insurance. I'm basically taking my 20 years of knowledge and putting it into these 2 days. This is for people that want to spend more time with their family and friends. I keep going down that rabbit hole because I think that is what's most important. That's what's most important to me. It's not so much the real estate business, which I get a lot of gratitude out of that. It's what does it give me outside of the business. The other half of it is fix and flip. So you gotta know fix and flip because you have to fix up your own properties. And then you also might want to fix and flip. We need fix and flippers in the world because we need properties built up and sold off to people that need them. So I'm bringing in my good friend Mark Bracey. He's from Jacksonville. I told you I mentioned him earlier. Jacksonville, Florida. This is what he does. He's the best person I have ever met at fixing flipping mobile homes. One of the reasons is he was a contractor that actually went and worked on the mobile homes. And then he became an investor to hire the contractors. So he knows both sides of it. And in his time, I think he's done over 130 mobile homes. And on October 8th and 9th, I can't wait for you to meet him so he can teach you the A to Z of fix and flip. He is not your typical fix and flipper. There's a lot of fix and flippers build themselves a business. They work 50, 60, 70 hours a week and they're on the projects all the time. He goes on a ton of vacations, and most importantly, he built his business so he can not only spend quality time with his daughters, but quantity time. He did not build a business that he is in all the time. I think that's a very important thing to build, end in mind. What else are you gonna get? We're gonna walk through the properties and do the repair estimates. Remember, Mark's gonna give it to you from both sides of view. The contractor side, what they wanna see, and then what we need to know from the investor side. Contracts, documents, his scope of work, people love it. It's an easy to use Excel that you can edit. It's easy for the contractor to see. He tells you what to delete, what to put in there for you and for the contractor. And then most importantly, the confidence to take action. Just like Marquise did, he came to class and he's not only been doing deals, but he did that networking thing I talked about a lot tonight. And in class, he networked and now he's doing deals with someone he met in class. So there's a whole nother piece to going to education is networking the whole time. Well, here's the deal. It's October 8th and 9th, down very long drive in Tampa. So not very far. If anyone knows that Pete Fortunato guy, it's gonna be at the Holiday Inn that he does it at. It's real close to the airport, and it's gonna be October 8th and 9th. Or you can stay in your cozy house on Zoom. This is 2 days of content. This is not a sales pitch to come to the next class because that's how you get the rest of the information. There is no next bigger class. This is 2 days of what we do. We're teaching it to you so that you can go home and take action with it. In a few minutes, when you go back there and sign up, you're also getting a 100% money back guarantee. If you don't think it was valuable and worth the money, I'll give you your money back. That is how much I believe in what I'm teaching you. It's worth it. Before I understood mobile homes, I got a lead, didn't really know what to do with it, and I just gave it to an investor, realtor friend. He had pulled a bunch of comps for me. I was like, here you go, Gavin. And Gavin said, are you sure you don't want this? I said, yeah, you've helped me out a lot, just take it, it's okay. Because I thought I was just giving him something that wasn't worth anything. What did Gavin do? He took it and bought it, and a few weeks later, he almost doubled his money at $18,000. I left $18,000 on the table because I didn't understand mobile homes. If you're getting these leads anyways, make some money on them. even if you don't, I want you to keep them or fix and flip them, but at least wholesale them. Make some money if you're getting the lead. Here's the pricing. We're still in early bird time. It's $7.97 for yourself. Bring a spouse, friend, business partner for $3.97. Look, you see the value there? I mean, if you look through some of the math we've done tonight, you make your money back as if one deal, pretty quick, maybe two.
Yeah.
So you see some value in this pricing? No one does? You've been to the meetings before, you know a lot of times we're gonna give you a better deal than that. So we are. Bring your business partner for free. So both of you get to come for $7.97. This is in October. I don't want you to lose the momentum and everything from tonight. So when you sign up, you both get a copy of my book, How to Buy a Mobile Home, so that you can go home and read it. Don't go to sleep. Keep the momentum going. Just read it. Take action with it. So you both get a copy. So you both get a ticket for each of you and the book. That's $1,200 savings, all of it for only $7.97. So you can be like Andrew. Andrew wasn't really into this mobile home thing. Actually, he wasn't in investing altogether. But his girlfriend convinced him to fly out from California. They came to class, and now Andrew is a mobile home investor. He drank the Kool-Aid, I call it. So he's one of us now, and he's been to other classes outside of mobile home stuff. So he's in, he's invested, he gets it. I want you to be like Andrew. Last thing, I believe in taking action. I keep talking a lot about that because every time I take action, the faster I do it, the better my results. So the first 5 people that sign up, you're gonna get a fast track call with me. Essentially, that is taking all of this information and we make a plan. I don't want the book to sit on the shelf. It doesn't do you any good. I don't want the information to sit in the back of your brain. Taking action and going for it. I want you to take this stuff and make money with it and improve your life. So I don't sell this, you can't go anywhere. I protect my time a lot. So this is the only way to get it, is by being one of the first 5 people. Put it all together, you get a ticket, you get to bring your friend, business partner, spouse, they get a ticket. You both get a copy of the book, How to Buy Mobile Homes. And then the first 5 people get the fast track call with me. That is a real world value of over $2,000, and tonight you get it for only $7.97. I thank you for trusting me with your education. I'm gonna be in the back helping you sign up, signing your books whenever you sign up and you get the books. And I want you to be one of the first 5 people so that you get the fast track call with me. You both get the book, you both get the class and come there. And I'll see you in the back of the room. I appreciate it. Thank you.
How many wobbly boxes?
Take care around 30. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Some more. Need some more. Hey, no, need yeah. Yeah, so one way that you can tell if you take the title, if they retire they put the home and land paperwork wise together, then if you go in your legal description, blah, 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 and in the bottom it's going to say, with 1989 single wide. So we know it's an 89. And we look at the change of title, we see the title is kind of different band. Pretty then we know when they do the title search, so they'll tell you differently. That one in particular, really, I had a deep. Yeah. But that is, if you're gonna dig a little bit yourself, I personally just rely on my title. I rely on everything. It's their job. I'm paying them. They're really good at it. Did you say you do mobile? Okay, that's what I used to be. I don't have any anymore. Mark, I need to get his numbers for this year. Last year when we talked, he had 4 business pipes that he was working on, and they were all going to net over 40 profit. And last year when people say, oh, I can't fix it, he was netting that. I think he's got about 60,000. Consider like how average dog is.
I have a video. I just wanted to get a drink after.
Knowing what's going to happen. Go to Adrian S.